I am well aware that there are many, many people out there that my audience holds a lot of anger towards. There's a lot of people that I hold a lot of anger towards. But this is not going to be a no holds barred situation. Some things need to still be off the table, even when talking about people we hate. Hey there, folks. So, let's start at the beginning. I had a video that I did go viral on TikTok. I say viral by my metrics. My account, I'm now on my third account on there. I've been banned twice, is not particularly large. And honestly, I tend to consider anything viral that gets more views than I have followers, because that means it expanded out beyond the people who already said, yes, I'd like to see more from this person. But I hadn't really had anything do that well on TikTok at all, and definitely not on this account. I've had a couple things go over 1 million. The specific thing that I'm going to be talking about at time of talking is over 700,000 views. But for reference, I hadn't had anything break 100,000 views since 2023. I've still been on TikTok because for all the frustration that I have with it, including being banned twice for nonsense reasons in both cases, I do still like the platform. Not the way that it's run, but like the basic functionality of it. I've met cool people there. I see fun things there. I like engaging with it and the way that it works. I mean, you may have noticed I've started putting more shorts up here and on my my Vera Wild channel as well, and that's partially because being on TikTok encourages me to make more short form stuff, and then I go, oh, that could go here or there, and I end up repurposing it. If I tried to think I'll make a short for YouTube, honestly, I draw a blank. There's a certain invigoration of my imagination and my energy that I get being on TikTok, and I try to embrace that. But as a platform itself, I've I've given up having anything be successful on there ages ago. That having been said, this was a video that did extremely well, especially by my metrics. And what it was is it was a video using a sound that I don't know if the sound was really trending yet at the time. I either jumped on it early or I got on the tail end of the wave. Because if you don't know too much about TikTok, one of the most common things about it is a certain sound. Sometimes it's a clip of a song. Sometimes it's a clip of somebody talking, will be repurposed by people for their own videos. They might lip sync to it. They might caption it in a way to bring different meaning to what it is. It's one of the things that's fun about it. It's kind of a remix in a way, when done well. So it was a sound from a country song, and I'm going to try and insert what it was I actually made here. There is the chance that it might get flagged for using the song because YouTube sucks like that. So I'll also record myself explaining what it is, and you'll know whether or not YouTube let it go up depending on what you're about to see. It sure ain't Christian to judge a stranger, but I don't like her. It was short, it was snappy, and it blew up. Again, by my metrics, not the general standards of TikTok, but it did pretty well. And here's the thing. I mentioned I haven't had anything get over 100,000 views since 2023. I'd forgotten that going viral in general, but especially on TikTok, kind of sucks, actually. Because there's sort of a process that happens, and it just starts by, oh, let's put this out to people who we think like your stuff and your usual viewers. And if it starts doing really well and getting high engagement and it's getting shared and all this other stuff, they might go, oh, this is doing real well. Let's push it to the greater TikTok area. So suddenly, something that maybe plays very well with your usual audience suddenly gets pushed to a whole bunch of people who may not want to see you, simply because the algorithm has decided, oh, that's doing well, let's push it to everyone. Now, in truth, this did not bite me in the ass as hard as a number of other times I've gone viral on TikTok hats. It's not been bad every single time. There's been a couple where it wasn't awful, but there's at least a 50-50 chance that it's going to just bring a wave of transphobia against me because suddenly my image and my visible queerness is being put in front of people who are not okay with that because the algorithm is just pushing the damn thing. But this time I didn't get a lot of outright transphobia directed at me, which was a relief. That having been said, I did end up dealing with something that I dealt with over the next couple of days that made me want to make this video and talk about what is and is not okay to do when criticizing transgender people. Because if you didn't already pick up, the point of that video was ultimately, it is never okay to dead name or misgender a trans person. And then the example that I made, the exception, the but I don't like her, was explicitly not a person. Then people, not the majority of people, but some people started showing up in the comments and going, oh, but it's okay to misgender Caitlyn Jenner. Or more broadly, they just go, oh, but it's okay to misgender trans Trump voters because of some general sense of they betrayed the community, or they're just a bad person, or, they want it both ways. They want all this privilege and we shouldn't let them have it, or whatever excuse they were coming up with. I spent the next day and a bit explaining over and over and over again that no, it's not okay to misgender Caitlyn Jenner, Blair White, Ezra Miller. It's not okay to do. And that does not mean, and I have never said, you can't criticize these people. Believe me, holy crap, can you ever? And I have in multiple of these cases. But I don't have to remove their identity and deny them a basic element of humanity in order to criticize them. That's the first thing. If the only way that you can think to push back against a trans person is to remove their humanity, that's really troubling. That gives the impression that you were just looking for an excuse to do it. I'm going to note right now, it is impossible for me to know how many of the people making this argument in the comments of that video and how many of them I responded to were doing so in good faith or just trying to start infighting. It can go either way. I'm going to talk about it like it was in good faith because doing otherwise, I might as well not be talking. But the other thing is, I cannot say to an absolute degree of certainty whether or not these people were themselves transgender. There was at least one who claimed they were. That having been said, these people being transgender does not alter my arguments, but I am going to note that none of them, including the one who claimed to be trans, had it noted anywhere in the bio on their account or that I could find from browsing briefly their posts, if they had any. Many of them didn't. There was no indication that any of these people were trans. So it really seemed like a whole bunch of cisgender people arguing to a trans person that it's actually okay to misgender certain trans people, including one who very explicitly admitted that she was not trans and yet refused to listen to someone who is. Now, I'm not claiming to be a monolith. I am not trying to say I am the end-all, be-all of all trans issues, and if you don't listen to me, well, there's no hope for you. No, I'm not perfect. But I will explain to you in even more detail than I did in numerous videos over there why this is not okay. Again, even if all of these people saying this were trans, I would still argue you are wrong. Let's start with the big thing. When you put on the table dead naming and misgendering a trans person in the process of criticizing them, because there are people who think that's okay. It wasn't just in my comment section. This is something I've seen argued before. And actually, I've seen it argued even beyond the notion of transes. I've seen people argue that it is okay to make misogynistic and outright sexist criticisms of certain women that they think are bad or evil or whatever, or that it's okay to just say racist things against people of color if they are sufficiently bad. And I disagree with all of it, but I'm going to focus on the trans issue because that's where I have some business actually being the one talking. So while I'm going to make that comparison to say I've heard this argument in other areas, I'm not going to specifically deal with those, but I would think some of the things I'm going to say probably apply at least to a degree. But again, I'm trying to stay within my lane on this. But here's the ultimate issue. And there's a whole lot more, and I will be saying more, but ultimately, for me at least, it boils down to this. When you go into a situation and you make the argument and start behaving on the principle of, you're a bad person, I don't have to respect you. On the core level, I agree. There are many people who I fundamentally do not respect, including trans people. But it's the extension from there, where it's not just I don't have to respect you, it's I don't have to respect your identity or your pronouns or your name. And that is where you 100% lose me. Because what you have done is created a scenario in which you get to decide what people do and don't have their identities honored. You are deciding, okay, because you did this, or you believe this, or you said this, or you supported this, I can take away your identity and a core essence of your sense of self, and I can negate it because I don't like you. To do that is to validate the practice of dead naming and misgendering on purpose for any reason. Because you may have decided, well, I'm doing it because this person is actively harmful to the trans community, because this person supports anti-trans legislation, even though they're trans, etc., etc. Okay, those are the reasons that you've come up with as to why you think it's okay to misgender or dead name them. But you are giving up any standing on the issue of that it is or isn't okay. You are saying it is okay in specific circumstances. And you are basing those circumstances on your assessment of whether or not they are a good enough person or whether or not they deserve it. And other people will make their own assessments. Because you're saying it's okay to do this if you don't respect them. Well, other people will disrespect folks like me for completely different reasons than you have, but you've still validated the practice of doing that at all. People will set their own standard for what makes it allowable for them to misgender or dead name you. And then they will point to you and your argument that if I don't respect you, I don't have to honor your name and pronouns. They'll point to you as justification for it. You are validating a practice that is only ever used to harm us, including in this case by you. You are using something that you know is harmful, which kind of brings me back to my core rule in moving forward with any of this. Don't be an asshole. Because I have and will continue to argue that the vast majority of us know when we're being assholes. I don't mean you know when you do anything and everything wrong. We make mistakes. We all do. What I mean is you know when you are doing something expressly for the purpose of being cruel, mean, and sadistic towards somebody. You know when you're doing something just to hurt someone else. And you have your excuses for why it's okay. Oh, it's okay because they hurt me or they hurt this person I care about. It's okay because of their political beliefs. It's okay because of their religious beliefs. It's okay because of whatever. My general rule of thumb is don't be an asshole. And when you deliberately misgender someone, which you are doing explicitly to try and hurt them, even though it doesn't, we'll come back to that, you are choosing to be the asshole. And don't take this as a, well, they go low, we go high. I don't believe in that. I don't. I do, on the whole, believe that turnabout is fair play. But you are initiating this when you do this. This isn't turnabout. This is you taking direct action and leveling your sights at a trans person's identity and revoking that from them. And no matter what you think that says to the person you're doing it to, what it says to trans people who see and hear you do that is that if we step out of line, by your measure, whatever that might be, you'll do it to us too. Because I got news for you. Caitlyn Jenner's never going to hear you dead name her. Ezra Miller's never going to hear you misgender them. These people are not hurt by what you're doing. The only people that you are impacting are the trans people around you who see that you feel our identity and our humanity is revocable and negotiable and has to be earned and can be taken away at any moment. And you are also signaling to any cis people in the room that you think this is okay, and maybe some of them will think it is too. You're not impacting these people that you're doing this against. You're impacting everyone else. Caitlyn Jenner will never hear you. So the only damage that happens is the collateral damage. There is no actual hit that you are delivering to her. So even if you try to argue to me, oh, but she deserves it, it doesn't matter. She doesn't hear you. The rest of us do. And we have to live in the world that you're creating, a world in which our identity can be revoked by anyone who, quote unquote, doesn't respect us. Now, I will stress, this is not a defense of Caitlyn Jenner. This is not a defense of Ezra Miller. This is not a defense of Blair White. This is not a defense of anybody. This is something that I am holding to on a matter of principle. And the reason is because on that principle, you are causing harm and helping no one. The only person who benefits from this is your sense of vengeance, which, I'm sorry, does none of us good, none of the rest of us. And also maybe you satisfy the other transphobes in the room who think that they now have an ally, someone who, like them, believes it's okay to revoke someone's identity, that it is a privilege, not a right, to be viewed as the person that you are. I went through this years ago when I covered the nonsense that went on with Ezra Miller, because people dragged me over the fact that I still use they, them pronouns for them, and still do to this day. Because I've got some bad news for you, sunshine. Not all trans people are good. Not all non-binary people are good. There can and will be and are people amongst us, our community, who will make us look bad, who we don't want. And certainly, we can expel them from the social aspects of our community. If you invite Caitlyn Jenner over to your house, screw you! But we don't have to. If we are in community with them, we can expel them from our communities without revoking their identities. And I'll highlight Ezra Miller because one of the things that people argued to me and still do was that Miller would use their non-binary identity as a shield to accuse people, pointing out the nonsense that they were getting up to, and they would just accuse them of being queerphobic, transphobic, whatever. And I'm not saying Miller didn't do that. Miller definitely did that. But weaponizing one's identity does not make it insincere. If you have actual evidence, which basically has to amount to Miller themselves admitting, oh yeah, that's all BS, I just do that to get away with stuff. then you cannot prove that that identity is not held in sincerity, and you have no right to revoke it. And again, there is a freaking rap sheet worth of stuff to criticize Ezra Miller for. Why do you feel the need to misgender them on top of everything else? Again, I understand not wanting them to be considered part of our community, to be one of us. I get it. I don't like it either, but we're not all perfect. And we have to learn how to cope with people that we don't want to be associated with still being validly non-binary and trans. Because if we try and paint an image that we are all perfect and that anyone who isn't, we revoke their trans card, then we're not a community. We're not an identity. We're not queer. We're just gatekeepers. And that doesn't help anybody. The most radical thing that you can do when confronted with someone getting in your face going, oh yeah, well, I identify as this, is to just honor it.
Has pretended to be trans for the last 5 months to own the libs, and apparently was treated with kindness from the left and vile hatred from conservatives.
Somebody that you know is acting in bad faith throws made-up pronouns in your face, start using them.
And you have to correct people when they misgender me. You have to go, excuse me, splort's pronouns are actually splort spleet. If that's what you want me to do for you, yeah, okay. Okay, so like I could just put this dress on now, huh? If you want. It's your body. Well, I'm gonna. Great, I'm proud of you.
Because what we have that they don't is kindness. What they have is cruelty. Revoking someone's name, someone's identity, someone's pronouns, knowingly and purposefully, is cruel. And we don't need cruelty. Cruelty is their weapon. We do not need it. We should not use it. The one carve out that I will make is for public demonstrations of malicious compliance, as demonstrated here.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As the Senate overwhelmingly voted yes.
You can call me Mr. Chairman if you want.
Well, I cannot be compelled to use your preferred pronouns as you have all voted.
Wait a minute. We're talking about preferred pronouns. A lot of people are. I prefer to be called Chairman French. That's my preferred pronoun.
I know, and you all voted that preferred pronouns cannot be compelled speech in SF 77. Anyway.
This is not only valid, but important because one, it was done in public to make a point, and two, it wasn't done to a trans person. It used malicious compliance with a recently passed bill to show the hatred and demonstrate it directly to a cis man who supported it and for the view of all. But if I had a conversation with her in private and she kept misgendering that chairperson, I would question, why are you doing that? As a public display, it has a point. Doing it outside of that, it really does not. And I will not be accepting arguments for why it's okay, actually, to misgender a trans person, to dead name a non-binary person. I don't care who they are. I don't care how awful they are. Acknowledging and honoring names, pronouns, does not put them above criticism, nor does it mean that we are adopting and accepting them into our community. You can accept that someone is what they say without going and welcome home. No! There is a difference between accepting and honoring someone's stated identity and actively welcoming them into the community. We don't have to do that second one. We should be doing that first one. And I have yet to hear a single argument against honoring the names and pronouns of people who are garbage. I've yet to hear a single argument against that doesn't ultimately come down to cruelty and the desire to inflict it. This is not a matter of self-defense. This is not hitting back because they hit us, because again, they're not going to hear you. We don't need to do this, and we should not be doing this. And again, this is not about a moral high horse. I have no problem lowering myself. If someone's going to be an absolute garbage human being and go, oh, well, you wouldn't lower yourself down to my level, would you? Son of a bitch, I will come down to your level to kick your ass. But I also won't stay there. And I will do it if it serves a purpose, not for its own sake and not to satisfy a need for vengeance or cruelty. I am a pragmatist at the end of the day. I am not into philosophical purity. So this is not about, we must behave perfectly. No, this is what is the practical outcome. What is the actual practical thing that follows when we do this and we let it happen? Nothing good. Nothing good. Nothing helpful comes of this. And again, I'm not saying you got to be perfect. And I'm not above lowering myself to deal with certain kinds of people. But you're not accomplishing anything by dead naming trans people you don't like. Nothing that you should want to accomplish. And if you do want to accomplish it, get out. Get out. Because if you can't listen to people explaining to you at length why it is not okay for you to dead name and misgender those of us who you don't like, regardless of what your reasons might be specifically. If you can't get that, don't be here. I don't want you. I gave myself permission to get angry because I spent days on TikTok being calm and reasonable. And I'm fucking done. Because at a certain point, once you have pointed out to someone why what they're doing is wrong, and they keep doing it, at a certain point you have to stop explaining. At a certain point, it's not an issue of ignorance. They're doing it because they want to. And not only will I not engage with people who want to, I will not hold back when talking about or to people who want to. This might come off as a bit angrier than I've been for a little while. I do not care. I will not be entertaining further arguments as to why it is okay to misgender and dead name trans people, including absolutely horrible ones. Now, to be fair, my audience here on YouTube, you weren't the ones doing this. Well, not this time, at any rate. A couple years ago, folks did it related to Ezra Miller, but like, this thing isn't your fault. This is TikTok's fault. And obviously, they're probably not going to see this, but I still needed to get this out of my system. And on the off chance that anybody needed to hear it, I needed to say this. Because the level of frustration was too much. And I debated what channel to put this on. My gut instinct was to put this in the Vera Wild channel because it is not something that I'm tying in to, you know, the kind of stuff that I try and have this channel be about. I'm not tying it into entertainment, either specific pieces of entertainment or the entertainment business or whatever else. But you know what? This is in some ways a follow-up and a continuation of the videos I did about Meta and their changes to rules on Instagram and Facebook, and also just the general state of things in this country right now. I don't intend to have this channel start to be primarily about these kinds of issues, if for no other reason than it is exhausting for me to do this. It would hurt me to have to do this as the primary topic on here. So it's not gonna be. But sometimes when I talk about queer issues, I'm okay putting it on the Vera Wild channel. Did a video there a little while ago talking about labels that I'm actually quite proud of. Could have put that here, but it felt more appropriate there. Sometimes I need to be sure that as many people hear what I'm saying as possible. And that's where I was at with this one. So thank you very much for listening to me get this out of my goddamn system, because I won't lie, this pissed me off. And at the time you're actually watching this, this was a couple of weeks ago. At the time that I'm recording it, it was a few days ago. But it'll come out a little bit further down the line because I'm several weeks ahead and I don't want to move the other stuff. And it's not like this topic is going to go away. It's not like it's going to stop being an issue. So, in any case, thank you very much for listening. And I hope you understand both what I'm saying, the core logistics of it, and also my anger. I like to think if I get angry on here, it's valid, but obviously I'm not the only one who can make that call. In any case, thank you very much. Thank you for listening. And if you want to support what I do, Patreon is what enables me to do this as my living. Whatever thoughts you care to give me, keeping them polite. I said I won't be entertaining arguments. If you want to make a case down in the comments, you can. I will not be engaging in it in good or bad faith. So if you're trying to engage me, you won't. But you can put your thoughts down in the comments and talk about it politely with the other commenters. I will be monitoring, and I will ban people as I need to if you are just here to be cruel. But what I really want you to remember through all of this is that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council, and I am just running the meetings and occasionally just getting stuff off my chest. An address that I was given for my birthday. I didn't note it before. Hope people liked it. But until next time, this council is adjourned. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Goddess Elida, Zubin Lopfula, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Oliver B., Melissa Pedersen, Movie Turtle, Melinda Walters, Auntie Kate 808, Andre, Becky Sparks, Claire Wright, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Quite Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Toku Bluhuvian, Adam RDL Taylor, Pal Barabajagal, Mary Mello, Mira G, Sir Didymus is my favorite. I've never screwed that one up before. Well, if you want to hear me mess up your name, check out the rewards on the Patreon. I'm going to blame you.